Hey everyone, it's low carb and keto nutrition specialist Amy Berger bringing you, as always, keto without the crazy. But today I have kind of an interesting topic for you because I want to talk to you about 4 reasons why you should quit keto. Amy, don't you market yourself as a keto nutritionist? You're not a very good businesswoman, are you? Are you trying to put yourself out of business? No. My goal is not to get everyone everywhere to follow a low carb or ketogenic diet. My goal is not to force you, dear viewer, into following a keto diet if it's not the best fit for you. Keto's not the only way to accomplish certain things. So while I have most definitely built my career out of helping people with low carb and ketogenic diets, I've also had clients who I told to eat more carbs. I've had clients who I told to stop doing strict keto based on their individual situation. So I've got some notes again, so hopefully this won't go too askew and we'll get things done in a systematic, orderly way. But that's one of the things that we have to start off with before I get into each of the 4 specific points. Keto is not the only way to do certain things. Keto is not the only way to lose weight. Proof positive being the many, many people who lose weight through other methods. It's not even the only way to lower your blood sugar or make a huge dent and improve or possibly reverse your type 2 diabetes or PCOS or hypertension or metabolic syndrome and any of these other things related to insulin resistance that we know keto is really good for. I happen to think that keto is the most effective and the most powerful, but keto is 0% effective and it's not powerful at all if you can't actually stick to it. If you won't actually do it and do it consistently for a long enough period of time to achieve the results you want, then it doesn't matter how effective it is. It's only effective if you're going to actually do it. So now I also want to say that there are certain specific conditions for which keto, and I mean strict keto, like a true medical ketogenic diet, for which that is the only known treatment as of right now. Like might not be the only treatment, it's the only effective treatment we know about right now. And I'm talking about some very rare inborn genetic errors of metabolism. And like there's actually some genetic mutations that involve the glucose transporters that get glucose into your cells. Well, if you have one of those mutations, a ketogenic diet can basically be life-saving because your cells are nowhere near as dependent on glucose when you're running on fatty acids and ketones. Go figure. So anyway, various forms of epilepsy, just all kinds of very, very rare, not that epilepsy is all that rare, but just a lot of different neurological and seizure disorders, and again, these inborn genetic errors of metabolism. And there are, again, things for which keto is really the only treatment. And then there's things, metabolic conditions that I think keto is the best treatment, but it's not the best for you if you hate keto. If you just hate it, can't stick to it, don't want to do it, aren't interested. Okay, so that brings us to point number 1. The first reason why you should quit keto is you hate keto. You are just miserable. You just plain don't want to do keto. You love bread, you love pasta, you love rice, you love fruit, you love potatoes, you love beans. You never met a starch or sugar you didn't like. Now, can you eat an unlimited amount of those high carb foods all day, every day, and achieve certain results? Probably not. You're probably going to have to cut back on something to some extent, but you might not have to go to ketogenic levels of carbohydrate restriction to achieve some aim that you might be wanting to achieve. So if you just plain hate it, and every meal is misery, every meal feels like a chore, you are constantly feeling deprived and restricted. You know, there's people that do keto who don't feel deprived at all. We see it as a choice that we happily make. You know, I don't eat XYZ foods, ABC foods, all those sugars and starches, but I don't feel like I'm missing out. I don't feel deprived of those foods. I don't miss those foods. Therefore, I don't really care that I don't eat them. But if you do, if every meal is a misery and is a hardship and feels like torture, then keto is not for you. Again, even if you have diabetes or PCOS or some condition for which we know keto is an absolute slam dunk, if you hate keto and you're never going to do it, or you're doing it currently, but you are again miserable the entire time from the minute you wake up to the minute you go to sleep, and every meal, food shopping, going to restaurants, everything is just ugh. It's a pretty good reason to quit keto. There is an author and podcaster named Elizabeth Benton whose book Chasing Cupcakes I have recommended numerous times. It's on the shelf back there. I meant to get it out to show you, but anyway, you can look it up. It's called Chasing Cupcakes. Elizabeth Benton, she has a saying, I don't even think this is in that book, I heard it on her podcast once: white knuckles are red flags. White knuckles are red flags. If you find yourself white knuckling through every meal, because again, maybe you just don't like the foods that are low in carbs. Maybe you're not a big fan of animal protein. Maybe you hate beef. Maybe you hate chicken and fish and pork. Maybe you hate broccoli. Maybe you hate spinach and mushrooms and asparagus and zucchini and eggplant and tomatoes. I don't know. Then you're white knuckling your way through every meal, every snack, every food-related decision. That is a big red flag that keto's probably not the greatest fit for you. And, you know, maybe you want to quit keto because you just plain want to. Nobody's forcing you to do keto. I hope nobody's forcing you to. I hope nobody has you tied to a chair and is forcing food down your throat, and the only food they're forcing down your throat is very low in carbohydrate. I hope that is not the case. You can decide to do keto, try keto. You can decide to stop doing keto anytime you want. You don't have to do it. Nobody has to do it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. All right, so first reason to quit, you're just miserable. You absolutely hate it, and it has sucked all the joy and fun out of food for you. Second reason to quit, you have become absolutely terrified of food, including foods that are low in carbs, because various and sundry influencers, and I hate that word, but technically I am one, but I'm also like I'm a CNS, certified nutrition specialist. I have a master's degree in nutrition. I may be influencing, but I like to think of myself as a little more than just an influencer. But other keto influencers and health and nutrition influencers have made you downright paralyzed with terror about food. Everything is poison. Spinach has oxalates, can't eat that. You can't dine out at your favorite restaurant anymore because there might be 2 atoms of soybean oil, there might be 2 molecules of canola oil. You can't dine out at your friend's house because God only knows what oil they're cooking with. And I will link to a video in the notes here. I did a video that was very popular a while back that was about this issue of scammy, fear-mongering, alarmist, sensationalist, clickbaity influencers who are making you effing terrified of food. And I admit, full confession, this time this title is a little clickbaity for me, but you know, I dip my toes into the clickbait waters once in a while, and lo and behold, I get like a 5x views. The view count skyrockets. Go figure, I'm shocked. This is my surprise face. Anyway, yeah, you're terrified of food. Everything has become poisonous. Like I said, this thing has oxalates. This thing has goitrogens. That can't have nuts because it has too much phytic acid. There's always some. This isn't grass finished. This pork was conventionally raised. It's kind of high in omega-6 compared to, pasture raised bison. Like, you get to the point where you can't eat anything. You have to live on air because every single thing is poisonous. Every single thing you could possibly eat or drink has some kind of compound in it that is killing you, and you know it does because so-and-so influencer says so. So that makes your world very, very small. It boxes you in. It, again, hampers your social life. Can't dine out anywhere, or you can, but you do it with terror. You do it like shuddering the entire time and thinking that you're probably going to have a heart attack that night, in your sleep. And so your world just becomes smaller. The things you can enjoy, the things you do, and I'm not saying that every meal should be a party in your mouth, but food should be enjoyed. I will never be one of these people that says, oh, food is just fuel. Food should not, be your entertainment. Maybe it shouldn't be your sole source of entertainment, but it can be entertainment when done the right way. And I don't think food should be your emotional outlet. Food should not be your best friend, but food can, and I honestly think should, be a source of joy and pleasure. And if this fear about every food and every misstep with food, every perceived misstep with food is sucking that joy out of you, yeah, that sounds like a fun way to live. I always say that keto is supposed to enhance your life. Keto is supposed to make your life better and make your life more enjoyable. And if it is not doing that, if it is doing the opposite, if it is making you miserable and scared and terrified and hampering your social life and your ability to just enjoy a shared meal with friends and loved ones, then what are you doing? What is the point? That is a great reason to quit keto. Let's see. Another reason 3 that you should stop doing keto, that you should quit keto, is you are tired of turning every meal into a math project. You hated calculus in high school. You don't want to have to do it at the dinner table. You don't want to have to do it every time you order lunch. You don't want to have to do it while you're having breakfast. If you have to spend the rest of your life calculating macros and weighing your food on a food scale and bringing your measuring spoons out to the restaurant, and you just don't want to live that way, and you're tired of your spreadsheet and your macros and your apps and logging everything and tracking, and you just want to flip and eat, you just want to sit down and enjoy your flippin' food, then that's a great reason to quit the crazy thing they call keto. But you knew there was a but. I don't want to forget number 4, but anyway, I'm coming back to that because I know you might be thinking, well, Amy, I eat keto and I don't do all that. I don't put my food into an app. I don't have a spreadsheet. I don't do macros. I don't weigh and measure my food. Yes, I'll come back to that in a second. My point is, stop shoehorning yourself into something that you hate, into something that is making you unhappy and miserable and scared, and I'm running out of adjectives. Just something you just plain hate doing that you don't even have to do it. And who's making you do it? Who's forcing you to eat keto? Oh, right. Nobody. It's not the only way to be healthy. It's not the only way to lose weight. In fact, I will link in the notes for this video to 2 other programs that I think are phenomenal, and they're not keto, and people are losing weight really nicely in these programs. And I know because I am in these programs, you got to kind of see what other people are doing and what works and what is being taught. So, and these are 2 programs that I think are absolutely phenomenal, absolutely wonderful, and they're not keto because they don't have to be. So if you want something else, I can help you find those resources. I prefer not to name names in this video. I don't want you falling down all those rabbit holes now. If you are that interested If you are that tired of keto, then you will take the extra 2.7 seconds to scroll down and look at what I may be recommending. But reason number 4 to quit keto is that you keep starting and stopping and starting and stopping and starting and stopping. And this endless cycle of starting and stopping then has you feeling like a failure, beating yourself up, wondering what's wrong with you, wondering when you'll get it right, starting and wondering if this time will be different. How is it going to be different? It's never been different before. Yeah, like I said before, that sounds like a fun way to live. That sounds like something sustainable for the long term, starting and stopping and starting and stopping and beating yourself up constantly in between. Again, white knuckles or red flags. If you are constantly starting and stopping, then this is not a good fit for you. Because if keto were a good fit, you wouldn't constantly be stopping. Now, lots of people, me included, started and stopped a couple of times until we didn't stop, until we just kept going, and keto was just the way we eat, just the way we live. So yeah, you don't have to master this right out of the gate the first time. But if it's been a year, 2 years, I want to say even 6 months, but my first time around, I think it took me more than 6 months of doing it before I really, not that I started and stopped continually over 6 months. It was like I'll start and stop. Maybe a month later, I'll pick it up, maybe 8 weeks later. So over the course of, it wasn't like I was continually doing it every other day for 6 months. I'm just saying, give it, some period of time. But the point is, like, it's natural, it's very normal, it's very common to start and stop. But if you've started and stopped 3-4 times and it hasn't clicked yet, you're on your 8th, 9th, 10th cycle of starting and stopping, maybe you should just stay stopped. Because again, it shouldn't be this difficult. It shouldn't be this difficult to lose weight, to get your blood sugar down, to stick to something that's going to help you accomplish those aims. If it is that hard for you to stick to it, then it's probably not for you. Because if it were for you, you wouldn't keep stopping. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's so obvious, yet it's not that obvious. I feel like I have to say it, and because I think really some of you need permission. You need someone to tell you, hey, it's okay to quit keto. You don't have to do keto. There's other ways of doing things. Why don't you try some other program? So, and I think a lot of you get stuck in that on-off, start-stop cycle because you think you do have to do keto. Like it's the only way. So of course you're going to keep trying rather than saying, maybe there is something else. This can't possibly be the only thing that works, except in those rare conditions like I mentioned earlier. So, all right. Lots of reasons for specifically to move away from keto, but I want to plant the seed here that you might not have to quit keto. What you have to quit, or what I recommend you quit. Now, if you want to just quit keto, you're done, abandon ship, go ahead. I wish you well. I wish you the best. If you don't want to quit keto, if you do, like, you kind of know somewhere in the back of your mind that keto actually is the best thing for you. It would be the most effective thing. It would be the most powerful thing if you could only get yourself to really do it, and maybe do it less miserably, maybe have a little more fun, enjoy it a little more, but how could you possibly do this? Then you don't need to quit keto. What I encourage you to do is to quit doing keto the way that you've been doing it so far. There's a lot of different ways to do keto. How do we know? Because there's 865 million keto YouTube channels, and we all do it a little bit differently, right? So, again, quit keto if you think you need to quit keto, or you just want to quit keto. if you really think it would be right for you if it was a little different, then do it a little differently. You know, you don't have to count macros and weigh and measure your food and do percentages and use an app and log anything. You don't have to be terrified of regular ranch dressing, regular Caesar and blue cheese dressing from the supermarket. You don't have to be terrified to eat conventionally raised pork or chicken. I have worked on small farms in 3 or 4 different states. I love me a small farm. I love me some pasture-raised animals. Not everyone can afford that. And you don't have to in order to lose weight, in order to reverse type 2 diabetes, reverse PCOS, improve your mental health, improve your skin, do all sorts of things, reverse your fatty liver, all sorts of wonderful things that we know keto is good for. If you can afford that food, if you have the means to support the local small family farms in your area, please do so by all means. But if you can't, that shouldn't be an obstacle to you implementing this reduced carbohydrate restricted way of eating that could quite literally change your life for the better. And so let me just look back at the notes here. Yeah. A lot of people enjoy the tracking, the weighing, the measuring. They just are very particular about their food sourcing, the provenance of their food. Great. That works for them. It is not required to be successful on keto. It is not. And you know how I know it's not? Because many, many thousands upon thousands of people, possibly millions at this point if we consider the entire world, but at least many, many thousands of people have gotten these incredible results, have achieved these remarkable transformations without any of that. Without turning every meal into calculus homework, without being so afraid that they're down to one food that they feel safe eating, and it's pasture-raised lamb, which don't get me, I love me some pasture-raised lamb, but I mean, I can also go out to any restaurant and get a burger, and if it's grass-finished or not, don't really care. I also love me a good supermarket blue cheese dressing, complete with the soybean oil or the canola or what have you. I live to tell the tale. So all of that stuff that you think you need to do, you probably don't. My whole keto without the crazy, I often walk people away from that overcomplication and making this overly burdensome, and we just try to make it as simple as we can. Let's take the pressure off. Let's unshackle ourselves from those chains that we put ourselves in with regard to food. I can't have that because of XYZ reason some schmo on the internet said. I don't even know if it's true or not. He just said it. Yeah. It may not be that keto is making you miserable. It's the way that you're doing keto. And it's the people that you're listening to. Maybe you need to unfollow a couple of people. Maybe you need to unsubscribe. If there are people that are doing this to you, that their voices are in your head and you're so scared you don't even know what to eat anymore, who's forcing you to listen to their podcast? Who's forcing you to watch their videos or read their books or read their Twitter feed or their Instagram or whatever? So you can either unfollow or just ignore. Scroll on by for a few days and see if your mental health doesn't improve. Really, keto, I cannot say it enough. Keto is supposed to make your life better. It's supposed to enhance your life. It's not supposed to box you in and reduce your quality of life and reduce your enjoyment of life. What's the point of having a 5.0 A1C if you feel like crap all the time mentally and emotionally? What's the point of fitting into your size 6 jeans, ladies, or I don't know what men's sizes are, whatever a size, a reasonable size is for a guy. What's the point? What's the point of feeling like you look really good if you are unhappy and scared all day? So don't be afraid to unfollow, unsubscribe, or ignore. Just ignore for a few weeks. If you're looking for a simpler way to do keto, if you are trying to get the crazy out of your keto, check out the book End Your Carb Confusion that I wrote with Dr. Westman. Check out, if you are specifically stuck with weight loss, fat loss, check out my book, The Stall Slayer, stallslayer.com. We also have an entire course called Keto Made Simple that's sort of based on the phase 1 food list in End Your Carb Confusion. It's the same exact food list Dr. Westman has been giving his patients in his clinic for over 25 years. What could be better than that? If you want other personalized help getting the crazy out of your keto and sort of customizing things in a way where you can get the results you want, it might take a little bit longer, but get the results you want in a way that is so much more enjoyable and so much calmer and so much less stressful, then that is exactly what I help people do. I am available for one-on-one individual consultations. There's a link in the notes to every video I put out. So you can book a consultation. You can also consider joining my Patreon community, which is a whole community of people that are keto without the crazy. Very warm, welcoming, inviting bunch. If you're struggling, if you need some, encouragement, some support, just think of it like a virtual support group. So I think that's all I have to share with you for now. To recap, it's okay to quit keto, really. You have my permission. You don't need it. You don't need anybody's permission to eat whatever you want or to stop eating things that you don't want to eat. It's okay to quit keto. If you hate it and it's making you miserable, number one. Number two, your life has become smaller. The crazy influencers, scammy, clickbait, overly alarmist, sensationalist people have made you abjectly petrified of food. And there's the list of foods you feel safe eating is getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. That is a great reason to quit keto or to stop following the scammy, terrifying, clickbait, alarmist influencers. I would rather you do that than quit. Number three, no dinner at the table. No math. No math at the dinner table. That used to be my slogan. No math, no dinner at the table. Yeah, that's where you should have dinner. No math at the dinner table or the breakfast or lunch table for that matter. You're tired of the macros, the tracking, the apps, the percentages, the weighing and measuring your food. But you don't have to do that if you do keto without that. And what was number four? You keep starting and stopping and starting and stopping. Well, if keto was right for you, you wouldn't keep stopping. But again, it very most likely is not keto that's the problem. It's the way you've been doing keto, and I give you my highest encouragement to simply shift that. Get out of the terror-stricken, macro math, gram percentage driven, perfectionist driven, fear-mongery, alarmist driven version of keto and come over to the non-dark side, the more fun side, the more relaxed side, where we actually just sit down and enjoy food that we love. It just happens to be foods that's low in carbs. All right. I said it already, but I'll say it again. Until next time, promise me that you will keep the crazy out of your keto. Thanks for watching.